Larry King Live, Friday night, 9 Eastern.
Well, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus has teamed up with a left-wing advocacy group to attack me in this broadcast on our coverage of illegal immigration. They don't want you to know it's a left-wing advocacy group. They like to pretend that they are a watchdog group over journalism. The Congressman, Joe Baca, who's the chair of the Hispanic Caucus today, said, "I am," quote, "guilty of reckless journalism," end quote. Lisa Sylvester has our report from Washington.
Members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus took aim at this broadcast, the Glenn Beck Show on Headline News, and Fox News' O'Reilly Factor over how they cover illegal immigration.
And only creates fear, hatred, and negative stereotyping of immigrants. Dobbs is the most guilty of the reckless, irresponsible journalism.
The caucus cites a new report from a group called Media Matters, which describes itself as a progressive research center that, quote, documents conservative misinformation. Among the charges, the report says these shows are fueling hatred and point to coverage of crimes involving illegal aliens and the costs of illegal immigration to U.S. taxpayers.
Overall, immigrants pay more in taxes than they get in social services. But you won't hear that from these cable hosts.
But a 2004 study by the Center for Immigration Studies, which favors immigration restrictions, says just the opposite, that illegal households cost the federal government $10 billion more than they paid in taxes in 2002. On the question of stereotyping, a Hispanic group that opposes illegal immigration disagrees, saying elected officials are trying to shut down the debate over fixing the system.
Using smear tactics and now an even high-level campaign of trying to censor the media. And I find it even more offensive that members of the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, elected officials, are actually trying to shut down people and deny them their First Amendment rights when they've taken an oath to uphold those very laws.
Now, the report by Media Matters is entitled Fear and Loathing in Primetime, Immigration Myths and Cable News. Now, this group and members of the Hispanic Congressional Caucus often do not draw the distinction between legal and illegal immigration. All three broadcasts have been critical of illegal immigration, illegal because it is a violation of U.S. law. Lou?
Yeah, it's remarkable. And by the way, to get associated with Media Matters, the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, I mean, that's sort of, in my opinion, duplicitous to begin with, as if there's some sort of impartial judge of what is and is not correct reporting. It's really mindless. And as you say, it's a progressive, liberal, left-wing organization. And by the way, we should point out Paul Waldman, the author of that study, has agreed to be our guest here tomorrow night, so we're looking forward to that. Any suggestion on the part of those at this press conference or whatever that perhaps their position is not entirely reasonable, that there is room here for some interpretation of facts rather than just a sort of histrionic attempts to muzzle the press that's going on? It's almost a concerted effort, isn't it?
Well, this group, Media Matters, this was a group that was formed in 2004 by a man named David Brock. I mean, this is clearly a liberal, progressive group, and they clearly have an agenda. I mean, if you go on their website, they make it very clear their next target, in fact, is John McCain. So they basically go down the list, and they are looking for these types of issues and essentially to spotlight them and to highlight them the way that they have in this case.
Well, it must confuse and confound the poor souls at Media Matters, because if they're a liberal left-wing organization, they're actually aligned with the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, which also wants amnesty, which also wants open borders, and basically buys in with the Hispanic Caucus and ethnocentric interest groups that, that if you are against illegal immigration, if you want borders secure, you are by definition, therefore, a racist, for crying out loud. The mindset and the level of thinking and openness here on the part of these advocates is just pitiful.
Yeah, that's a very valid point. In fact, we had the group You Don't Speak for Me. I mean, this is a Hispanic group, and they are clearly against illegal immigration because they said they played by the rules, their family played by the rules, and now there are groups of people who want to break those rules and then reward folks for breaking the rules.
Well, I will repeat to my friends at the Hispanic Caucus and to Media Matters, by the way, for that matter, very simple syllogism. You defeat this, I'll sign on with whatever your program is. You cannot reform immigration law and policies in this country if we cannot control immigration. And we can't control immigration if we can't control our own borders and ports. You find the fault with that syllogism, I'll sign up with your program immediately.